Good afternoon, everyone. We are back here on US Home Talk. We are here every Wednesday at noon, covering all of the current events in mortgage, real estate, credit repair, anything and everything dealing with real estate. I'm your host, Mike Overson, Illuminate Home Loans. We have Jason Walgrave with Remax Advantage Plus and the Walgrave Real Estate Group with us as well. He's here every week. He's no stranger. Not with us today is Marcus Walgrave. He's typically with us too. He's with Hague Realtors out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He is, what's he doing, Jason? Has he got track duties?
I think he does. I think he's got some. He's a part of the Howard Wood Relays board, and I think he's got some of those obligations. So,
yep. So we'll let him off the hook for today for being part of that. If anyone is a track fan, you probably know about the Howard Wood Relays in Sioux Falls. It's actually a very big meet, and so anywhere in the Midwest and even probably on the coast too, you've probably heard of the Howard Wood meet because it is a big meet that we have here. We're going to be covering a lot of topics today. We're going to be answering the questions that came in through the week, and we're going to also answer any of the questions that come in during the show. You can submit your questions on the Facebook feed there. So go ahead and go in the comment section, type in your question. We'll answer those questions live during our show here. And then as always, we have Evan Little, our producer. He is here to answer any sort of insurance questions that we come up, or if we just want to play Stump the Insurance Agent because we run out of stuff to talk about, that's always a fun game to play too.
We do like that game. I enjoy that game.
The phone number for us is 612-234-7585. 612-234-7585. You can call or text that number as well with any comments, questions, and that number is available throughout the week. So if you don't catch our show live here, but you want to connect with us, you can certainly connect with us at that phone number. Again, it's 612-234-7585, or you can connect with us on our show website, which is ushometalk.com. And then you can also catch our show on any sort of podcast service that's out there. So go to your podcast service, search for US Home Talk, and you can listen to our show live or listen to our any of our 50,000 previous shows that we've done.
Yes, 85 years live on the air. 85 years of live shows, 50,000 episodes. Yep. We've got, and then I just talked to Liz just before the show, our new website, ushometalk.com. Sounds like that's going to be up and running probably by next week's show or the week after at the latest. So very excited about the new website. It's got some fantastic features. It is, Mike and I, we will admit the current website it's a bit, let's say vintage. It's a bit vintage at this time, and also known as old and tired. So we're excited to get the new website launched. Thank you, Liz, for all the hard work on that as well.
It's old and tired like we are, Jason. Our website matches us right now.
We don't have time to be old or tired, so that's not happening.
I mean, that's a true story there for sure. Now, did Liz take my suggestion and put just a picture of me on the front page?
Yes, shirtless, of course.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I think that good.
That's the whole banner. The backdrop is good. We're gonna get lots of daily visits to that site.
Lots of comments. Put the shirt back on. Put the shirt back on, please. Oh, I love it. So what are we talking about today? So what we're talking about this. What's the word on the spring market? Is it really that outrageous? So we're going to talk about we'll talk about the real estate side of the spring market first, and then we're going to talk about the mortgage side and interest rates. So Jason, I'm a buyer out there. And I want to get in the game. I'm looking to buy a house here in the late spring or early summer here, 2023. But I've been hearing that, it's a little bit tough out there for buyers with multiple offer situations. Is it really that outrageous?
The answer is yes, it is. It is almost identical to last year at this time. So last spring of 22, one of the craziest spring markets that we'd ever seen. A lot of multiple offers, a lot of competition. the wild part is this right now is almost identical to last spring as far as that, the low inventory, multiple offers, buyers got to act really, really quickly. And the wild part is last spring, interest rates were what, 4.25, maybe?
Yeah, yeah. Last spring, let's see
That's
here. Yeah, they were anywhere between. They probably hit 6.5 by the middle of June. So
okay.
you were looking at probably, let's say, March 1st. You're probably looking at the high fours, or excuse me, the low
I figured.
fours, low
Yep.
fours, and then it was ramping up to about 6.5 by the middle of June.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So, biggest difference is interest rates are higher now, but that's the interest rate conversation. We really haven't had that much this entire year. And so we had the big shock in the fall. That's where we really felt, buyers, their concerns and questions about it. That really is not out there. So folks have accepted, where rates are at. They're, around 6.25. You can buy those rates down, if you like. But because the inventory is so low, we are in a very seller heavy market. You've got more buyers than there are homes for sale, and when a nice home comes on the market, and it's in great condition, it's in a good location, and it has the right marketing and advertising plan behind it, there's going to be a good chance that, and if it's priced right, there's going to be a good chance it's going to be in multiple offers. And so how do we help our buyers? We've developed a strategy of 19 steps to win in multiple offers. And so we love our buyers. We love working with buyers. We've developed a plan that, over 2 decades of experience in the real estate industry, what are sellers looking for? What's important to them? How do you write an offer? Let's say price is the same. You got 5 offers, price is the same. How are you going to win your offer? You're going to do that with an experienced agent and team that has years of time in the field, knowing what sellers are looking for. And we've built this 19-step strategy to win in multiple offers. So if you're a buyer out there, a part of that strategy is aligning yourself with a top loan officer like Mike Overson and his team. I can't tell you how many deals we've won over the years when in multiple offers where the deciding factor was work with Mike Overson and his team. And we're talking to the listing agent and they say, you know what, Jason, we know you and your team, you guys have got a fantastic reputation in the business. We know that you guys get things done. You do what you say you're going to do. Oh, and we see Mike and his team on the lending side. We know if he sends over a pre-approval letter that loan is going to close on time, and it's all but a guarantee. And so you got to have all of these tools available to you as a buyer if you want to have the highest likelihood of winning in multiple offers. But yes, the market is very crazy right now, especially with home prices. I'd say 400 and below is the most activity. 450 and below, 500 and below, also super active. But we've had, a couple months ago, I had a buyer that went in and there's multiple offers on an $850,000 property, and so, anything under $1 million, if it's marketed properly and you have the right advertising and marketing campaign in place and you've hired the right team, real estate agent and or team, you're going to be in a good spot. And so there's a way to win. You got to partner yourself as a buyer. You got to partner yourself with the right real estate agent and team and mortgage professional and team. And that's where we can help give you the highest likelihood of winning in a multiple offer situation.
Real estate is for sure a relationship and a experience type of business. And I say that because agents know agents. It's a small world out there, right? So real estate agents know real estate agents. They've worked with real estate agents in the past, right? So when they see 5 offers there and it's like, okay, I've worked with Jason in the past. He was good at communication. That deal closed. You know what? There may have been an issue that came up, but the way he worked through the issue and we came together and figured it out for our clients, it was very smooth. So like I got that history and that experience with that particular agent. these other agents, maybe it's a part-time agent, right, who doesn't do it full-time, so they've never worked with that particular agent before, or maybe it's an agent that wasn't very good on the last deal that they worked with, wasn't good at communication, didn't close on time, had issues but never addressed them, this and that. They're going to look at that and say, I'm going to pick Jason's offer for sure, because of the experience and the previous experience in the communication and just the level of professionalism that they got to experience on the last deal that they worked with you. So it makes a big deal in a market like this to line yourself up, especially as a buyer, to line yourself up then with an agent that is known and respected in your area, because it can make all the difference in the world.
It can. We get deals all the time done because we had a great experience with an agent in the past, and it's, it's so, there's a lot of great agents out there, but there are a lot more not great agents out there, and so as a buyer, again, this is one of the largest purchases that you'll ever make in your life. You owe it to yourself to have the absolute best representation, and so make sure that you're hiring and aligning yourself with the right agent and mortgage team, because we don't want to work with call center Billy with hope it closes mortgages, because it probably won't close.
Right. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. Local lenders are big. This is a national show. Jason and I are here in the Minneapolis market. Jason, you're licensed in several states. I'm licensed in several states. We could do loans in several different states, but working with a local lender or not an online lender, if you will carry a lot of weight. And we know that, because here's the deal. If the loan officer is local and sitting in your market, they got a reputation in that market, right? And if their reputation gets around that they don't communicate, they don't close on time, it's hard to get a hold of them, that type of deal, that spreads pretty quickly. And even in the office, there's a RE/MAX office that my building is in. There was like literally a blacklist of loan officers going around the office here of not to use or not accept offers from these loan officers because they're not good to work with. So that's why you use a local lender, right? Because they're a local lender, they have a reputation to uphold. If something goes wrong, you're going to be able to contact them and communicate with them. They want to get it to the finish line, because otherwise their reputation is going to be ruined. If it's an online lender from, somewhere in Arizona or something, and the house up here is in Minnesota, if it doesn't close, no big deal. That loan officer just won't even call or email back. It's just like, sorry, denied, move on to the next one. They don't have a reputation up here in Minnesota to take care of.
Yeah, a lot of the big box lenders and a lot of the online lenders, I mean, it's a volume strategy that they have, right? And so, their whole business model is based on mass amounts of transactions. And so, you're right, Mike. If one falls through, well, we have 100 more on the desk that we can go to. So let's just move on to them. And so that, and again, look, it's the biggest purchase, one of the biggest purchases of your life. And it's probably the most amount of money you're going to borrow in your life. And so I want to be able to, if I need to, go down to Mike's office, sit across the desk from him and get my questions answered, and it's important. The policies and procedures and the way that you guys do business, the customer service, the level of customer service that you give is exactly what our clients are looking for and expect. And it's something that every buyer out there should look for the same.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And if you don't think it makes a difference, be a buyer, get out in this market and use the people we tell you not to use and see how it goes. And then switch over to a reputable agent, right? That has a good reputable agent that's professional in your market, and switch over to a local lender in your market and see what type of difference it makes.
Yep. Absolutely.
I don't get gray hair like this from not answering phone calls and emails.
No, you get the gray hair from answering all the calls and emails.
I answer the phone calls. I answer the emails, right? I deal with issues that might come up. People quit their jobs and don't tell us, and we find out 3 days before closing. That happened this week.
Did
right?
It really?
It happened on Monday. Two, husband and wife combo. One of them quit their jobs, didn't tell us, thinking that, and they were supposed to close today on Wednesday. Thinking that they could just quit their job, and because the loan was done and clear to close and whatever. Not the case. Now we fixed it and they are closing today. Right. So we got it done.
Tell me about that. How'd you fix it?
So we were able to figure out how to qualify using just the husband's income.
Wow.
They had to pay some debt off and things like that, but we figured out a solution for it. We still got him to closing on time. But that's one of those things where if you have, call center Billy from Hope It Closes Mortgage,
yeah,
you ain't closing on time. That deal probably dies and you're scrambling to find another lending company, and you're getting pushed back at least a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So the gray hairs talk volume, baby. See all that? Look at all that.
It's like a badge of honor. It's like a badge of honor.
Right? So, I mean, Evan, look at Evan. He doesn't even have hair left. That's how many phone calls and emails he answers.
That's true. That's complete.
So, yeah. So who you line yourself up with, especially as a buyer in today's market, for sure, makes a huge difference. And then, so moving forward, Jason, so so we talk about the spring market, where it's at now. Moving forward, what do you see as we kind of move out of spring and into the summertime here?
I expect the remaining spring market and all of the summer market is going to continue to be very busy. A lot of activity. Again, there's no flood of homes coming to the market. And so this inventory is going to remain low. It's probably going to remain low for the next 5+ years. And so, I also kind of feel like the rates are going to come down a little bit in June. And so that'll spark things, but people need a place to live. And they've, the biggest change from a year ago is I think for buyers is if you qualified for a $600,000 house last spring, maybe this spring you only qualify for a $450,000 or $500,000 house, and folks have accepted that. And so it doesn't change the fact that you need a place to live. Rent rates are at historical highs. The availability of rentals, especially single family homes, is nearly non-existent. And so it is, it's a buyer's market in that you can still buy a home for most likely less than what it will cost you to rent that home. So why not buy it? And then you get all of the benefits of owning a home. You can write off the interest. And if it's, an investment property, you've got depreciation, you've got all the other benefits that come along with that. And so it still makes sense. Even when there's a low inventory and you got to work hard and fight hard to get that house, it still makes sense to buy a house today rather than to rent.
So, yeah. But Jason, I think interest rates are going to be less a year from now. So I'm going to rent for a year and let interest rates come down, and then I'm going to buy.
So I think that's a terrible plan. And at the surface, it sounds, well, that makes sense, right? But the problem is that home is going to appreciate. If you take a look at the last 40 years, the average appreciation is a little over 4%. If you look at the last 5 years in the Twin Cities market, it's got to be somewhere between 8 and 10% per year for the last 5 years. So let's just use 4%, right? You got a $400,000 house. You wait a year, and that house next year is going to cost you probably $420, somewhere between $416 and $420. So you're going to pay more for it. If just imagine if you were, and here's the other part of that. A lot of folks don't know is that, Mike, you and your team, you're offering no lender fee costs refis on any loans that you do right now. So,
Right.
So we like to run numbers, right? And so if someone comes in, they say, you know what, I want to buy a house. Not sure if I should do it this year, if I should do it next year. Okay. Well, let's take a look at what it would cost you today. And let's say, that payment is $2,000 a month, right? At today's interest rate. And then they say, okay, well, what if the interest rates go down, a couple points, and, my payment's only going to be $1,800 if I wait a year. Okay, well, let's just look at that then. So you're talking about $200 per month savings for the next year. That's only $2,400. The house is going to cost you $16,000 to $20,000 more by waiting. So what if you got to pay an extra couple $100 a month this year? If you believe and expect the rates to go down next year, you're going to be able to refinance anyway. And with Mike and his team, there's no lender fees on the refi. So do not wait. If you are thinking about buying a home now or next year, buy that home now.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's what you do. So it's like, okay, so you want to wait to get the lower interest rate, but you're going to pay more for the house. So what if we can show you how to get the lower price for the house and get the lower interest rate?
Right.
You get the best of both worlds. Oh, great. How do I do that? You buy the house now at the current price, right? So then next year when the house is 420, you put the 20 grand in your pocket because you gain the equity and not the seller because you own the house now. And then you just do a no lender cost refinance next year whenever the rates go down. Now you ended up with the lower cost of the house and you ended up with the lower interest rate.
Yep. And you become a homeowner today and you don't have to rent for the next year.
If a buyer said that 5 years ago, I'm going to wait for X, right? So let's say a buyer said, you know what, I could buy today, but I'm going to wait at that point. Let's say I'm going to wait for interest rates to come down. Well, then interest rates came down, but home prices went up because of COVID and all that stuff going on. Now they're like, okay, now I'm going to wait for home prices to come back down, right? The amount of appreciation that the buyer missed out over in the last 5 years on your median sale home price is about $117,000.
Yep.
They missed out on $117,000, and that's just on appreciation alone. That doesn't take the tax benefits you get for those years, and it doesn't take all the other benefits of home ownership into play. It's strictly just the median sale price home and the appreciation that home had over the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I took a look at a house this morning that the folks said the owners had bought it in 2017 for $575, and that house is they did some renovations on it, so they did some updating, but that same house today is going to be $1 million, and so that was 6 years ago, not quite 6 years ago, and their house has appreciated $425,000, and so that's 75 grand a year in that example. And you're seeing, that's the other thing that a lot of our sellers and potential sellers don't realize is they don't realize how much your home is worth. You're getting your county tax statements, you've got the assessed value, or maybe you're getting some automated CMAs sent to you, but they're not always accurate. The tax assessments are generally not accurate. So don't go by those.
Don't look at those.
Don't look at those. A lot homes have gone up a lot in value, and there's a lot of equity. And so more times than not, when we meet with sellers and we do our research, we do a full market analysis, or, we're looking back at the last 3 to 6 months, similar homes as far as style, age, built, there's a range in there, location, the proximity to the subject property. And then, so we're finding out what the market value is. We take a look at the sold comparables, because that tells us what folks have paid for homes like yours. And then we also take a look at the active properties, because we want to know what our competition is. But we come in and we tell our sellers, hey, this is what your home is worth. And more times than not, they're surprised. Really? My house is worth that? Well, yeah, let me explain, where that number comes from. We go through the comparables and show them what their neighbor and comparable homes have sold for. And it's awesome, right? I mean, you love to go into meet with a seller where you come in with a value and it's higher than they were expecting. And so, now it opens up different options. And so whether that's, maybe you sell and you buy a bigger home, or maybe it's time to right size, as some would say, and buy a smaller home, or maybe you're going to sell your home and you're going to buy a home here and you're going to buy a home down in Florida. There's really excellent opportunity right now in this market, because the equity is so high in homes out there. And so it gives sellers the option to move, or to buy multiple properties, or to buy an investment property along with a new property. A lot of options for sellers right now because of the great equity.
It's the second best sellers market we've seen ever in history. And the only better time was COVID, right? Yep. COVID years, spring of 21, all the way through 2021 through the spring of 2022. That's the only time it's been better than right now. Second best sellers market right now. So
right.
And people don't realize that.
No, they don't realize that. And it's, the market is different in ways than it was a year ago. And I'll give you an example, staging, for example. You go back a year ago and then you go back another 18 plus months, nobody was doing staging because you didn't need to. Right. Sellers weren't, maybe they do some repairs, maybe not. A lot of sellers didn't even clean up. It was just, here it is. If you want it, come take it, and buyers could justify it because they had, some 3.5% interest rate, and it was, it was a different market. But what I like about the market today is we're seeing sellers really putting their best foot forward. And so they're making that home. If they take our recommendation, they're making that home showing the best possible condition. So, at the very least, we're doing a deep clean on the house, and we're doing, significant declutter, making any, noticeable repairs. And then if we have vacant homes, the last 5 homes that we've had listed that were vacant, we had Melissa Evans come in with Trend Staging. She staged those homes. Mike, all 5 of them sold within 3 days. And two of them we had on the market before we had it staged for 30 days, vacant, no staging. It didn't sell. We took it off the market, staged it. And so, staging is back. Seller's effort to really get that house in the best potential showing condition is back. And so that's really a good thing for buyers.
Yeah. Buyers got kicked in the teeth a little bit just because home prices, home prices did go up and interest rates went up. And so it took some of them out of the game, and it takes some of them to say, look, we're going to be a little bit more picky. So if it's going to cost us more, right, we're going to be a little bit more picky on the house that we're going to buy versus, if the rate's 3%, we can be less picky, you know what I mean? Because that payment's so low and stuff like that. Like, we'll give up in one spot and make it up in the other.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of back to, hey, let's get your house ready for showings, ready for staging if you need staging, things like that. Because buyers with the type of prices and interest rates that are out there, they're certainly going to be a little bit more picky.
Yep. And you know what? If you're going to be making an offer over list price, over current market value, you should be a little bit picky, and so I mean, it's definitely, I like the market better this year than last year at this time, because, I think buyers are they're getting more, they're getting more home or more attention and more time put in from the sellers. And so I think that's great, and for a seller, statistically speaking, if you want to sell your home for the highest amount of money, you need to present it in its best potential light. Right. And that along with a marketing plan that exposes your home to the most potential buyers, that's how you sell it for the most amount of money. So it's creates a little more effort needed by all parties, but I think that it's overall, it's a better market today than it was a year ago.
Absolutely. I would agree with you. As far as interest rates go, let's switch to interest rates here. So, what's happening with interest rates? So they are trickling down, right? And so if we let's look at last year, like I mentioned before earlier in the show, we hit mid-June, rates were at about 6.5, right? Mid to end of June, they were sitting around 6.5. October, they were all the way up at 7.625, right? Since October, then they've bouncing around anywhere between 5.875 and 7.25, right? So we have seen the volatility there as, okay, what's going to shake out here? The market's little unsure about how inflation's going to do. A lot of people are just like, okay, we still don't know what's going to happen. Like the feds are saying this, but we see this. We see prices for consumer goods going up, but then we see this over here. And so, like, what's the scoop now? So have interest rates settled in a little bit? I think they have settled in a little bit. If we look at the last couple months, yeah, there's been ups and downs, but not near as many ups and downs as we saw in like September, October, November in the fall, which means things are stabilizing a little bit. Today, all the loans that I quoted this morning were all between 6.125 and 6.625, depending on credit score and other factors. So low to mid sixes on a 30-year fixed standard conventional loan is where they're at. Report this morning that came out, expecting them to trickle down. I even think by midsummer, we could easily be at 5.5 by midsummer here.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. So I think that, anything in the 5s, if you're in the mid 5s, guys, that's a really excellent mortgage rate. The COVID driven 3s and 4s, I mean, that just isn't real. It's not sustainable. we're likely never going to see it again.
Right.
But anything in the 5s is really great rate. Again, the 40-year average. So you look at 30-year mortgages, the 40-year average for that 30-year mortgage rate is 8.25. It's 8.25. So if we're, low to mid 6s right now, that's pretty good. If we get into the 5s, mid 5s, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. We just got to throw the COVID years out.
Yeah.
Nothing that happened to the COVID years was normal.
No.
Literally nothing on mortgages, nothing in real estate, nothing in anything, right? Traveling wasn't normal. Vacations weren't normal.
No.
Driving in an Uber wasn't normal.
No.
Right?
No,
literally nothing was normal.
No.
So you can't compare anything to that because it just wasn't normal. It's probably not going to happen again, not at least in our lifetimes, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So let's go back, right? That's why you start looking. Let's go back to when things were normal. What was normal back then before COVID? We're definitely aiming and trending towards that type of normal now.
Right. Yep. I think so too, folks. The best way to get a hold of us anytime is our website, Minnesota. No, it's actually US Home Talk. Oh, here you go, Evan. Let's hear it. Where is it? Usually he's got a snarky little comment when I misspeak, which is quite often, folks. So you're all used to it by now.
I see him in the background, shaking his head, crossing his eyes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm doing actual work.
Oh, he's multitasking.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely multitasking. I've got a client breathing down my neck about something right now. That's how responsive we are. Sometimes we have to step away from the podcast to take care of things live.
Attend to clients.
You know what? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You're just way too old to be.
It's hard
to be taught. Yeah,
Are you talking to me or Evan?
You, Jason. Yeah.
USHometalk.com. That is our website. We're very excited. We're getting it. It's been redesigned. Liz will be launching it here in the next week or two. Our phone number, which is a 24-hour real estate hotline number, is 612-234-7585. That connects you with myself, Mike, Evan, Marcus, all of our fantastic partners that are part of USHometalk.com. You can text that number. Make sure to check out the website, USHometalk.com. We'll continue to give you updates on when the new one's coming. But we're super excited and we're always available for you guys.
Yep. And that's a cell phone that you keep in your pocket. So at 2 a.m. you'll answer.
It's actually a small Bluetooth device that goes in my ear, and then I sleep with it.
Oh, so gotcha.
Call it anytime.
It automatically picks up. So if they hear you snoring,
pick up.
Talk a little louder. If you're Jason snoring, he'll wake up.
Auto answer.
Huh? Who's there?
Oh, it's good.
Let's see, Jason, got anything else to cover?
No, I think for buyers, it can be a little stressful because you got to act quick. And so make sure, it almost goes without saying now, make sure you've got all of your financing in place and ready to go, that you understand what the monthly cost to buy the home in the price range that you're looking at. Make sure that your real estate agent that you hire, either it's an agent or a team, they know what your needs are. Keep those communication lines open. It's we're in that market where I might be out showing houses and we walk through one and my buyers say, "This is fantastic. I love it." I'll jump back in my truck. I'll give Aubrey a call and say, "Aubrey, can you draft up this purchase agreement?" She'll draft it up, send it to the client. They sign electronically. She then packages it up with your pre-approval letter, Mike. She sends it off to the listing agent sometimes before I even get back to the office. And that's what we have to do sometimes to increase our chances of winning these multiple offers. But, if you're a buyer, steadfast, keep your eye on the prize, communicate with your agent, your loan officer. It is a good time to buy. There are opportunities out there, and make sure that you've got the right partners to help you get there.
Hey, we did have a Facebook question come in live here, so let's hit that. It says, "Hey guys, have you spoken about the whole credit score above 740 thing that you'll pay more in mortgage fees?" We have covered that in previous shows. We haven't spoke about that today, but I can I can shed some more light on that for you. So the one thing to remember about that new mortgage policy is that the headlines make it sound like if you have a lower credit score, you're going to get a better interest rate than someone with a higher credit score. That is not the case. You still get a lower interest rate the higher your credit score is, right? What's happening is that the new rule is that let's say an 800 credit score and a 650 credit score, let's say the difference in interest rate was this, right? Let's say it was a full percentage point as far as interest rate goes. After the new rule comes into place, the interest rate for the lower credit score borrower comes down a little bit, and the interest rate for the higher credit score borrower comes up a little bit. So now the difference is not as big. It's still better, right, to have the higher credit score and get the lower interest rate. It's just not that much better as it was before the rule went into play.
Right.
And it's across all credit scores. So basically everyone who's got a 680 credit score or higher, things got a little bit worse for you, meaning 680 and above credit scores, your interest rate got pushed up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Anyone with a 679 credit score and lower, your rate got moved down a little bit.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how maddening this policy is. I mean, it's just, I mean, we could go on for days about how can you penalize someone who's worked hard to have a good credit score and penalize them and then give
I mean, I don't see it as a penalty at all, but we can discuss this on a full episode dedicated to it. It's just taxation policy, trying to get people into home.
I mean, that's the goal. The goal is good, right? The goal is we want to promote and try to help get more home ownership out there. That's the goal. Great goal to have. We all want that. Okay. What I don't like is that if you're going to make something better for one demographic, do it in a way that doesn't make it worse for another demographic.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? That's the thing. Great. Make it better for these people. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But not at the cost of someone over here. Right?
Right.
It's like, hey, make someone laugh over here, but not at the cost of someone who's going to cry over here. Right? Don't make fun of this person over here to make this person over here laugh. Right?
Yeah,
make this person laugh. Make this person laugh over here, but not at the expense of that person's feelings. That type of deal.
And you're not saying they both have to be laughing. Just one's laughing and the other one can just be, no response.
Yeah, that would be completely fine, but so, I mean.
And if there wasn't a bunch of news coverage about this, that's exactly how it would be. That's really what it boils down to.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I personally think there's a better way to do it. I do. But for now, I mean, that's what's in place, and that's what we all that's what we're all going to basically deal with moving forward here. So,
yep. Wait, Mike, you don't make the mortgage rules? I thought you make all the.
Well, I mean, did Biden call me and run it by me first to get my opinion on it? Yes, of course. He always runs all that stuff by me first.
Yeah.
Now,
but they're your rules, right? So I mean, like all of the requirements to get a mortgage and all the extra paperwork. And so folks, if you're, just so you remember, that list of required documents, that all came from Mike.
Yes, that's me. Yep. I have comment cards that I send out now with all my loan packages. What's your feedback? Give me some comments. It's fun. I would tell you this. Now, obviously, government intervention, right, needs to come into play at some point for certain protection purposes and stuff like that. But the cost of mortgages in general, and really the cost of anything, right? Anytime you throw in more regulations and this and that, the cost goes up because now you have to staff and you have to, regulate all that stuff for the regulations that come up to play. So, again, I think there's a better way to do it, and I think we could lower it. And I think that the government has stepped in quite a bit recently. A lot of it good, some of it bad, in my opinion. But I think there's a better way to do it. And I think they can make it more affordable for everyone across the board by making a couple changes. Mm-hmm. So,
excellent.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, we appreciate the question on Facebook Live. And as our show comes in this week, we want to thank everyone for tuning in live or catching us on the podcast at a later time. You can find us anytime, wherever you find your podcasts. and on our website, ushometalk.com. We are here to help with all of your real estate financing needs here in Minnesota, South Dakota, and the entire United States. This is Mike Overson with Luminate Home Loans. That's been Jason Walgrave with the Walgrave Real Estate Group and Remax Vantage Plus. We'll see you guys next week.